Make a collage with some fuzzy cut images. That's not only what I want to do today, but that's also prompt number 11 on the autumn prompt list created by my junk journal friend Maud from the Netherlands. She has asked me if I would like to work with her prompt list, and yeah, in the moment I saw this list, I was so inspired and so excited to work with this list that I, of course, said yes. So if you want to know more about this list and perhaps also Maud's YouTube channel, then please check out the info box. I have listed all the informations down below for you, so that you can also print out the list and work with it in your own journal and get some inspirations. For the background of my collage, I'm using this really awesome packaging paper. I've got this during my 10,000 subscribers junk journal tag challenge, and this journal is also the journal that comes to life because of this challenge. I've collected all of the entries that I got with this challenge in this journal, and I decided that I want to make some own pages in this journal inspired by other people, especially of course the people that have joined this challenge. And I also want to use all of the materials that I got with the physical entries of this challenge. So I got many letters, some happy mails as well, and I would like to include these materials here to this journal. So what I'm doing here is trying to glue this really outstanding paper. It's so shiny and so colorful. This paper totally reminds me to a forest in autumn. When you walk through this forest and you see the trees, all of these yellows and greens and browns and reds and that stuff. And I thought this packaging paper is the perfect base for my collage because it has exactly these colors. I also had some little strips of washi tape that I wanted to reuse, so I just put some glue to the back side so that I can glue it and it can stay there. And I've also used some washi tape from my stash because I thought this brown is, yeah, some kind of vintage on the one hand and autumny on the other hand. I don't know if that's a word, but I wanted to have some light autumn colors here on my page, of course. Yeah. So this brown washi tape is really white, so I've decided to glue some smaller pieces here as well to make this a little bit more filigrane and break this really strong washi tape on the right side. And then I decided that I want to have some color here on my page, some additional color. And for that, I've used some Distress Oxide inks. First of all, I tried to place that stencil here, put the color on top, and then spray some water. I was hoping that the color goes through these little holes, but as you can see, the only thing that went through the holes was the water, and that of course will be invisible after I've dried it. So I turned the stencil around to get this distress ink to my page. I didn't want to have the pattern of the stencil, but I wanted to have some random marks of this ink on my page. So yeah, I think that's a cool trick to get Distress Oxide inks to a page in a really randomly way. And yeah, of course, you can also use the stencil and go over it with a stenciling tool, you know, to have these little dots. But I decided that I want to do it a little bit different. To get more interest to this background, I've used a second green Distress Oxide ink. This, by the way, is my absolutely favorite color. It's this forest moss green. And every time I use it, I have the feeling that Tim Holtz has made this green for me. So, thank you, Timmy. This green is so great. Okay, so let's go back to the project. I'm only joking a little bit. That's also because I'm so happy about this journal and this page and this whole thing. It's so great. I came in contact with so many lovely people in this world. It's just incredible. Okay, so after I have dried this, I could see the real colors of this Distress Oxide ink, and I think that looks really interesting, but I wanted to have it a little bit more cozy, so I decided to use this fabric lacy thingy that you can see there. And these birdies that I have here are the fuzzy cut images that I want to use for this page, following this prompt number 11 from Maud's prompt list. And first of all, I was really not sure if I wanted to use only 2 or 3 or maybe only one bird, or if I want to overload this page with more birds. But then I thought a prompt list, yeah, shall always be something that you also can use to think out of the box and do some things that you usually probably would not do. And that was the reason that I've decided to make it, yeah, a little bit overloaded, to use more than 1, 2, or 3 birds. So I arranged some of these here, and yeah, tried to decide what else I could add here to the page. I thought it would look really nice if all of the yellow birds are on the left side. Don't know if you can realize that in this video, but the left side of this page is an envelope. So you can see this pink stamp, postage stamp on the bottom, and this is an envelope. There where the red washi tape is, there's the entrance of the pocket so that I can put something into it. And I wanted to have this left part of the page a little bit separated from the right part. Don't know if that makes sense, but that was my plan. That's the reason why I have put all of the yellow birds to the left side. By the way, these fuzzy cut birds can be found in my Etsy shop. Whoa, what a word. All of these words that you say very often are sometimes a little bit difficult. So you can find these fuzzy cut images in my Etsy shop. The link is down below in the description box. And here I realized how cool these digital fuzzy cut images are. Not only because I'm selling them, of course, I love the things that I'm selling. I sometimes make things for myself, to use them for myself, and then they go into my shop, so that I have them for myself as well. But here I realized how versatile such fuzzy cut images in a digital way are, because these are printed approximately half of the size that they are in this original files that I have with the download in my shop. And that's the cool thing. You can print these in the size you need them. And yeah, as long as you don't make them bigger, because then you would lose a lot of the quality. If you make them smaller, it's okay, and you can have so many variations of this, and you can print them as often as you want in the size that you want, and that's so cool. And in this moment I realized how cool that is. Okay, so back to the project. I wanted to have the background of this page a little bit more filigrane, and I wanted to bring some life to this background. So one thing that I did is that I've glued this fabric lace thingy here to make it also in this way that you can touch it with your fingers and that you can feel the different materials. And the other thing is that I have stamped a lot to the background. This flower stamp that I've used to stamp behind the birds is, for me, something that brings those birds to life. I don't know why, but this is so whimsical and so, yeah, your eye has to go over these little areas and you can explore so much. I think it's a good idea to include stamping in your collaging. These scraps that I've used are really far away from each other, and it's not this typical collage. Not all of the background is covered by paper or washi tape or this fabric. And the stamping brings some kind of a connection to the other things that I've glued before. And Of course, the distress ink makes some connection as well, but the stamping brings this together, even if it's not a typical collage element. I mean, it's not glued because it's stamped. Does that make sense? I don't know. Yeah, and here I decided that I want to have a little bit more contrast. The black on this page was really massive, so I tried to balance that a little bit with vintage photo distress ink and this stencil. These little things from the stencil, this pattern, totally reminds me to some autumn forest trees, or it can also be an abstract version of these, how is that called? I think it's fence, this wooden thing that's around your garden. Do you know? So that your dog can't run away. I think it's fence. I don't know. But this is also a point. Yeah, I would like to create something that you can get your own interpretation from. I mean, only because I see trees or wood when I'm stenciling here, it's not what you have to see. I don't know how I can explain these thoughts, but I wanted to have something that you can see with your own eyes and where you can explore what you see there. Especially autumn is a season that we all experience so different. There are people who don't like autumn and who have a really hard time in autumn. I mean, it's cold, sometimes it's really hot and then cold, sun and rain and whatever. Here in Austria sometimes we have snow, and that's a thing you have to go through and you experience it in such a different way. And I wanted to have something that you can look at and you can pick out your own things that you like about autumn. Yeah, does that make sense? I don't know. So here you can see a closer look to this. In the end, I've just splattered some white gesso to give it a little bit more interest and make it a little bit more filigrane. I really like splattering, by the way. I think you know that. And that's my finished page. So, Maud, if you probably are watching, thank you very much for this inspiration. Thank you very much for your prompt list. And to all of the others, I hope you like this. And please check out Maud's autumn prompt list. Perhaps you can find some own ideas for your own junk journaling projects. Stay creative, stay healthy. See you the next time. Bye bye.